Now we're going to draw up a page layout for our most important contact type.
A page layout is just a table where you store all of the information about this contact type.
First, find a real person from your mailing list that fits that contact type.
Starting with the basics, write down all of the things you know about this person. Obviously their first, last name, their email address, when we add them to our database, that kind of thing. Now we might add some extra fields about our relationship with the person. For example, who is their key contact at our organisation? Maybe we'll add their preferred donation type. Some people donate online, some at fundraisers, some over the phone. We could track their total donation amount. Now we're going to try to put a contact in from our contact list. This is Claire. Now her preferred donation type happens to be online, and let's say that she's donated a total of $100. Great. Let's take a moment to talk about data types. Data is stored in different formats. Dates for dates, numbers for numbers. Now in CRMs, because we're linking a bunch of stuff together, we have to use some fancy words to explain data types. Let me show you. A first name is simple. It's text. As is a last name. As is a Twitter handle. Now, a mobile phone is a phone number. An email is an email. Are they happy to receive emails? This is going to be a checkbox on a website. Whereas a company name is going to be a lookup. Okay, lookups. This is kind of weird, but there are essentially two kinds of information in this sort of database. There is stuff that is unique to the person, i.e. their name, their Twitter handle, their phone number, and then there's information when we go and look at a different part of the CRM to get the information. So for example, Claire works at Salesforce. That is an organisation, which is a whole different page layout, that has a bunch of information like the address and the office phone number, etc. So we look up the name of the organisation by pointing over at that bit over there. So this is a lookup. And this means that if, for example, we were to change the organisation name, we don't have to go through the 100 people in our list that work there and change them one by one, because we've changed them at one point and referenced it everywhere else. It's just about being organised, which is the point of a CRM. Now a job title is just text. Date of birth is a date. Now Claire is a donor, so we're going to tag her as yes for being a donor. Tags are a thing that you can add in some CRMs to certain contacts to designate that they are or are not a certain kind of person. So they are or are not a donor. They are or are not a volunteer. So volunteer is a tag. Their key contact person, again, is a lookup. Now this is a lookup because instead of putting a name in this field in text, we want to say that their key contact person is another person in the CRM. So we do a lookup for that person and link them together. Their date added is a date. The preferred donation type would be a tag. Remember in our example we said that they probably want to donate online, over the phone, or at a fundraiser. Those are 3 possible outcomes for that tag. And the total donation amount is a number. Now we're going to say that we don't have to require their donation number or their preferred donation type to have them in the database. We do, however, need to know the date that they were added. So we put a little yes next to this one. Okay, let's add another similar kind of person to this document to see if we've missed anything. I'm just going to duplicate this sheet, and I call this donors number 2. And in this, I'm going to grab another example from our contact list. Now, Sally Smith doesn't have Twitter. They work somewhere else, and they are a donor, but they're not a volunteer.
You might find that person 2 and 3 actually have some extra data that person 1 just didn't have. Maybe something like, who referred this customer? Think about all the things that are important for your organisation to remember about these sorts of people. Often it can be good to think of specific facts that relate to your organisation or cause. For example, if your charity runs a pet shelter, it might be good to know if these people are cat people or dog people. Add those fields in and try and find any missing data so that you've got the same information for each of your contacts.
Okay, so let's add a few of the things that we know about this second person that we didn't know about the first person. For example, we know the pet type of Sally. She's a dog person. And we also know that she was referred to us by John Smith. Pet type is going to be a tag, and people don't have to have pets. Whereas John Smith is a lookup to another person in the database, and again, it's not required. Now we could keep duplicating this sheet and finding new people and adding new fields. But what I'm going to do is grab those 2 missing fields and add them back to our original page layout. I'm just going to copy these, put them over here, and in this case we don't have this information for Claire, so we'll leave them blank.
By looking at this data, you should start to see a picture of how your organisation interacts with this kind of person. Quality knowledge gives us the power to serve our supporters and beneficiaries better, and even start to do special things like call our supporters on their birthday. Remember, we're not just capturing who people are, but also what they care about, and we're saving this in one place for our whole team to see. And then it becomes easy for anyone in our organisation to treat anyone we deal with as a friend.